Imagine this. 1453, the most impregnable city in the world, will fall into the hands of a sultan, 21 years old, with strategy, which is so crazy to the extent that modern military generals will also question the fact. We're talking about Constantinople, a fortress that has stood invincible for over 1100 years, protected by walls so legendary, until the enemies will retreat just by looking at him. This is not just any city. This is the last remaining of the mighty Roman Empire. Bridge between Europe and Asia, the crown jewels of dreams. Every conqueror, but no one can reach it. For over 1,000 years, the greatest military strategists in history have tried and failed to breach these walls. Shoot if hanging the Gaul to the mighty Arab Caliphate. Failed countless crusaders and warriors. Everything failed. This city seems blessed with divine protection, with massive Kyodosian walls, towering like a mountain, impenetrable stones and mortar. But then came Sultan Mehmet II, just old enough to grow a decent beard, but carries the burden of the destiny of a kingdom on his shoulders. Well, the enemy of his enemy, seeing an inexperienced kid who played around the war, Mehmet is arranging what will be the campaign, the most revolutionary military in human history. Not only did he want to conquer Constantinople, he wants to rewrite the rules of warfare itself. What happens next would rock the medieval world and change the course of history forever, because this young sultan will unleash 5 such brilliant strategies, so completely insane that they will make the impossible becomes inevitable. Strategy involving the transfer of entire sea fleet across dry land, building a weapon that could break down an untouched wall for centuries, and psychological warfare. Who will break? Spirit of the most elite defenders in the world. This is the story of how one person's brilliance transformed the greatest fortress on earth into conquest. The most spectacular in history. Are you ready to witness 5 military strategies? Most astonishing. That makes the world speechless. Let's dive into the madness of Sultan Al-Fatih. One ship walking on land. This is where Sultan Mehmet's brilliance lies. Really start to look with strategy that is so outrageous that even his own general thought he had lost his mind. The problem is simple, but it seems impossible to solve. Golden Horn, Constantinople, protected by a giant chain that stretches across the water. Such an effective barrier. Until there is no fleet. The enemies he once penetrated. This is not a random chain. We're talking about a colossal iron barrier. Each link weighs hundreds of pounds. Suspended between 2 towers, reinforced and supported by the entire naval force. Byzantium for over 800 years. This chain has been the main maritime defense of the city. Turned the Golden Horn into an impregnable safe harbor. Every military strategist knows the rules. Master the Golden Horn. Master Constantinople. But how to get through the chain that cannot be broken when you can't go underneath, can't get through, and definitely can't get past it? Sultan Mehmet's answer, so crazy that it's brilliant. If you can't go around the chain, don't go around the chain at all. Just surround the land. On the night of April 22nd, 1453, something happened that defies every law of naval warfare known to mankind. 70 Ottoman warships begin to move across dry land. Not a small boat. We're talking about full-sized galleys. Each weighs several tons, complete with a mast. And the logic cannon alone should have been impossible. Mammoth engineers had laid a pathway from wooden logs, which is covered in animal fat and olive oil, stretches 1.5 kilometers from Bosphorus to Golden Horn. Thousands of cows, horses, and humans working all night, pulling and pushing giant ships. This is going up a hill, obstacles, and go down to the harbor, behind enemy lines. Imagine this. Byzantine guards on the wall suddenly heard the creak of the rope and the sound of rumbling, ships moving where they should be. There is no ship. Imagine waking up as a defender of Byzantium and saw the enemy warships sailing in the waters that you think completely safe. The psychological impact was devastating. In one night, Sultan Mehmed have turned the impossible into reality. Past centuries of defense planning. With pure bold creativity, the Byzantium people not only lost their naval superiority, they lose confidence that their city is completely impregnable. This is not just a military strategy. This is psychological warfare at the most brilliant level. This operation requires perfect timing, absolute secrecy, and engineering skills that won't be seen again for centuries. But Mehmed managed to do it, proving that sometimes the most impossible solution is the only solution that works. The two giant cannons of the basilica. If moving a ship across the mainland, not crazy enough. Second strategy Sultan Mehmed involved building the most horrific weapons that the medieval world had ever seen. Introduced the basilica cannon that was so massive to make modern artillery look like toys. The Theodosian Wall, Constantinople, has stood undefeated for over 1,000 years, and it has a reason. This is no ordinary fortress. We're talking about a triple-layered defense system with walls 12 meters high and 5 meters thick, reinforced with towers every 55 meters. For 1,000 years, these walls have been laughing at catapults, turbines, and every siege weapon known to man. But Mehmed has a different eye. Enter the victim, a Hungarian engineer who had offered his services to Byzantium, first, only to be denied because they couldn't afford to pay the astronomical cost. A big mistake. Mehmed not only pays the victim's price, but give him unlimited resources to build, something the world has never seen. The result is Basilica Monster Bronze, 27 feet long, and weighs over 18 t. It's not just a big cannon. This is the weapon that shoots the ball. Stone cannon weight 1,000 to 200 pounds. So massive to be heard whistling through the air from miles away. His voice alone was enough to terrorize the defenders. When the basilica shot, the ground shakes within a kilometer radius. Bangunan Reddick Akibat Jelombe. This cannon is so powerful, can only be fired 7 times per day because the barrel of the bronze needed hours to cool down between shots. But those 7 shots, enough to change everything. On April 12, 1453, Basilica fired its first shot at the wall. Legendary projectile, the giant rock hit the fortress with such strength to create crater visible from across the city. For the first time in over 1,000 years, the Theodosian walls had been broken. Its immediate and devastating psychological impact. The defenders of Byzantium, who grew up with confidence that their wall, blessed by God, suddenly realized they face guns. Who was able to turn an impregnable fortress? They become rubble. Every thunderous explosion of the basilica doesn't just damage rocks and mortar. It shatters the myth. Invincible Constantinople. Mehmed literally has brought the future warfare to the medieval world. Prove that there was no defense, no matter how legendary. Who can stand their ground against innovation and determination? The age of castle walls was ending, and Sultan Al-Fatih was writing his obituary with bronze and gunpowder. 3 non-stop psychological attacks. Sultan Muhammad understood something missed. Many military commanders, sometimes destroying the enemy's mind, more effective than destroying their walls. The third strategy is psychological warfare that was brought to an absolutely brutal level. For 53 days and nights in a row, Constantinople has never experienced a moment of silence. This is not just an ordinary siege where the army attacks during the day and rests at night. Mehmed set up campaign non-stop, designed to destroy mental resilience. Every defender within the city, Ottoman war drums, never stop beating. Imagine trying to sleep while thousands of drums blared constantly outside your walls. Creates a rhythm that goes right through the bone and push you to the edge. The madness of his voice was so intense. To the Byzantium chronicler, describe it as the heartbeat of hell itself. But the drums, just the beginning. Mehmed deployed rotating shifts of soldiers to make sure the attacks come at intervals, random throughout each 24-hour period. Just when the defenders thought they can rest a few hours, Ottoman team will launch another attack. The Byzantines never knew. When will the next wave strike? This uncertainty creates a constant state of anxiety, which erodes even the most experienced soldiers. Lack of sleep, a weapon more deadly than any sword. After weeks of this treatment, the defenders of Byzantium made critical errors, asleep in their post, and lose their sharp reflexes that have been keeping them alive. Mehmed also uses what we now call propaganda war. He had his men shout, promises mercy to defenders who surrender, while simultaneously spreading rumors about the desperation of their situation. Ottoman army will show off banners and guns, captured Byzantium, creating the illusion that parts of the city have fallen. Psychological reinforced by the constant presence of soldiers. Massive Ottoman, more than 100,000 besieging the city. Their campfire seen from the wall, like a sea of stars, remind the defenders every night that they were drastically outnumbered. Mehmed even uses the psychology of religion, set the time, a major attack coinciding with the Christian holy days, forcing the defenders choosing between faith and their duty. The cumulative effect is crushing. In May 1453, many Byzantine soldiers reported nightmares, panic attacks, and total mental exhaustion. Some defenders literally begging to be assigned to the position of the most dangerous, only to escape the psychological torment waiting for Mehmed. Has turned fear itself into a weapon. Proves that conquering the mind could be as effective as conquering territory. This is not just a war. This is psychological domination at the most advanced level. For bridges, revolutionary pontoon, while the enemy of his enemy, still reeling from ships crossing the mainland, and giant cannons, Sultan Mehmed reveals his fourth masterpiece. Engineering that would make modern military architects envious. Golden Horn presents another challenge. That seems impossible. Even with a ship, his ship is now inside the harbor. Mehmed needed a way to quickly move thousands of troops across the water to coordinate the attack from different directions. Traditional boat crossing would be too slow and vulnerable against a Byzantium counterattack. Build a permanent bridge would take months. That they don't have. Revolutionary Mehmed's solution for his era. Floating pontoon bridge that can be assembled, dismantled, and repositioned at will. This is no ordinary bridge. We're talking about the wonders of advanced engineering. Stretches for almost 1 kilometer across the Golden Horn, able to sustain the weight of cavalry, artillery, and thousands of troops simultaneously. This bridge consists of a massive wooden platform that were connected by iron chains and powered by a specially designed boat that maintains stability, even in turbulent waters. That made this bridge an absolute genius is its modular design. The Ottoman engineers could build different parts simultaneously, then connect it like a giant puzzle piece. The whole structure can be assembled in just a few hours under the cover of darkness. But this is where Mehmed's strategic thinking really shines through. It's not just about moving troops. Bridge. It serves a variety of psychological and tactical purposes. First, it creates the illusion that the Ottoman army can appear anywhere around the city, anytime the defenders of Byzantium, no longer able to focus their attention only on land-based walls. They now have to worry about attacks from the waterside as well. The two bridges allow troop rotation. As fast as lightning, fresh soldiers could replace the exhausted in minutes. Maintain constant pressure on various fronts. The Byzantium people, that's been stretched thin, can't match this level of tactical flexibility. Third, and probably most important, bridge demonstrates the superiority of Ottoman technology. Whenever the defenders Byzantium look across the Golden Horn and see this impossible structure, they are reminded that they were fighting an enemy that could bend laws of physics according to his will. The bridge also allows for the placement of coordinated artillery. Cannons could be moved across the water and positioned for a cross-firing attack, which destroys that were never designed to be handled by the city's defenses. When the final attack came on May 29, 153, Ottoman team attacked simultaneously from land and sea with a pontoon bridge serves as a crucial link, which makes these coordinated attacks possible. Mehmed basically had turned the Golden Horn from a defensive barrier, being his personal conquest highway. This is not just military engineering. This is brilliance, strategically that changed geography itself into a weapon 5. Multi-front attack coordination. Now came the moment when the true brilliance of Sultan Mehmet revealed himself. Perfect orchestration of the previous 4 strategies into one devastating final strike that would change history forever. The 29th of May 1453, not just another day of siege warfare. It was the culmination of the most advanced military operation that the medieval world had once witnessed. Mehmet has spent weeks positioning each piece of his strategic chess game. And now it's time to checkmate. Exactly 1 o'clock. After 30 minutes in the morning, the final attack starts with coordination that will make modern military commanders crying out of admiration. The attack was random or chaotic. It's a proper symphony of destruction. Time led by a military genius. 21 years old. From the land side, giant cannon basilica boomed to life. Its earth-shaking explosion created a crack in the legendary Theodosian Wall, while the smaller cannons provided bombardment sustainable simultaneously. Ships that would be impossible to cross dry land weeks before launched their attack from the Golden Horn, attacked a seawall that was never seriously threatened in over 1,000 years, pontoon bridge into the highway of war, allowing fresh troops to flow across the Golden Horn in waves, maintaining relentless pressure from different directions. But this is where Mehmet's psychological warfare reaches its peak. Coordinated attack, creating the illusion that the Ottoman army is everywhere at once. The defenders of Byzantium, who was already exhausted from 53 days of psychological torture, find themselves facing simultaneous attacks from a direction that they thought was impossible. The timing is absolutely perfect. At the break of dawn, the Ottoman army attacked from 5 different directions: the mainland wall, harbor sea wall, Golden Horn, crossing, pontoon bridge, and even the climbing ladder. In the weakest spots, who was identified through weeks of reconnaissance? The Byzantium people, with only 7,000 defenders against over 100,000 attackers, can't be everywhere at once. Every time they rushed to defend one gap, other parts got devastating attacks. Its immediate psychological impact and total saw the Ottoman banner appeared simultaneously in different parts of the wall. They're impenetrable. Many soldiers. Byzantium lost the will to fight. Myth of invulnerability. Constantinople died in those crucial morning hours. 6 a.m. Ottoman troops broke through the wall near Centromanus Gate. 8 a.m. Sultan Muhammad II was riding through the streets of Constantinople as his new conqueror, a city that has stood invincible for 1123 years, has fallen in less than 7 hours. Coordinated attack. This is not just a military victory. This was the birth of modern warfare. First time in history that technology, logistic psychology, and strategy have combined with such devastating effectiveness. Mehmet not only conquered a city, he has revolutionized concepts of what is possible in war, closing the moment that changed the world. Forever comes exactly 6 a.m. on the 29th of May 1453, when the impossible comes true. After 1123 years, stand undefeated. Wall of Constantinople eventually fractured under the weight of revolutionary warfare. Sultan Mehmed, Gabner Stay Romanus Gate, not just holes in ancient stones. It was a gateway between 2 eras of human history. As the Ottoman soldiers poured through the gap, the last emperor of Byzantium, Constantine Ekase, make his last match. Loyal to his imperial blood, he released the government's regalia, take the sword, and died fighting as an ordinary soldier. Her body were later found among the common defenders. The fall of Constantine sends a shockwave to all the known world. In just 7 hours, a 21-year-old sultan have achieved what experts have failed to achieve: military strategy, greatest in history, for over 1,000 years. But the real impact goes far beyond conquest. Military fall of Constantinople, closing the last land route between Europe and Asia, forcing European traders looking for a new route to the east. This single event would spark an age of exploration, led to Columbus' voyage to the Americas, Duo Bascodi, Agamen Nashing, Ahurika and the discovery of the New World. Victory Mehmed not only did it end the Byzantium Empire, it redirects the entire course of human civilization. Ottoman Empire now controls the crossroads between three continents, became the dominant force in the Mediterranean, and reshaping global trade. For centuries, 5 seemingly impossible strategies have proven that innovation, psychology, and strategic thinking can overcome any obstacle, no matter how legendary. Sultan Mahmud II has earned his title, Al-Fatih the Conqueror, not just by taking a city, but by showing that the future belongs to those brave enough to rewrite the rules about what might. Medieval world die with the fall of Constantinople, and modern times born from his ashes. In the end, the greatest fortress on earth, not defeated by brute force, but by the revolutionary mind of a young sultan who dared to imagine the impossible and then manifesting them. 5 strategies that shape the world has done more than conquer. A city, them, has conquered the concept of impossibility itself. History will remember the 29th of May 1453 as the day when excellence triumphs over tradition, when innovation trumps legend, and when a young man turned 21, changed the world forever.